I've been enchanted by some of the writing experiments that I've been watching on AuthorTube. It might have been my first contact with AuthorTube generally, and one of my favorites was Kit Kavanaugh, and she does these writing experiments as she writes as a specific author. I started to write the current middle grade that I'm writing, wanting to make it sort of Ghibli-esque and bringing that atmosphere into the book. I was already quite interested in how Miyazaki works, and one of the movies that can show a little bit of that is called, I think, 10 Years with a Master. I'm not gonna repeat his daily routine because I simply don't have time to implement it at the moment. Then further I read on Miyazaki that he does think with pictures, and he can trash completely full plot line if something is not quite fitting. He either sketches out the characters or the scenes, and you can see that in the movie that I mentioned. So, right at the beginning, when I started writing this middle grade, I was already thinking of it as an experiment, already thinking of trying to think the pictures and scenes at first. It's a little bit of step back for myself, and I started plotting a little bit more based on my recent projects, and I started learning to plot more. Now stepping back and just writing into this intuitive manner. So I do wanna show where I started when I couldn't write a story because I was writing too many stories and I was just drawing some of the pictures. You can also visit my Instagram and see that I already were drawing multiple characters, trying to understand them. I started getting interested in character design, and for example, one of the exercises that I saw somewhere is drawing a character's bag and what would be in it. I've done like my major characters with all different bags and what items would be in there. Trying to reduce a paper waste and trying to move into digital drawing, and I found it what could have been also an exercise for myself because I've never actually been drawing digitally. I'm kind of practicing and finding new skills there. My most favorite technique would probably be watercolor, which is very befitting to Miyazaki. However, I'm cutting down on supplies, so currently I don't own any watercolors. So I'm gonna be using either acrylics or just pencils, going back to basics. So going back to where I sort of thought of the main character, which is a ghost or a sprite, and he's a apprentice of a wizard. So this lovely caped person was my first drawing on it. However, like I say, on my Instagram, I do have a little more sketches. And I've been trying to sketch him all along. Whatever I do, if I need to draw something, I would try to insert this character into my drawings because I just find the character very cute. And then the other big picture that literally came to me just as a picture rather than a story or anything. And then you can see the picture with a carnival masks hanged on the bush. What we're gonna do today is draw with myself a little bit, trying to recover at least one of the big scenes from the first chapter, what came to me as an image. Okay, so I sort of started drawing the ear balloon, a kindergarten area. I don't quite like it, so I'm gonna try to correct some of my drawing elements and then start painting. So far, I need to try it a little bit. Right, I don't think any of the mood drawings, any of the drawings that should be for the main scene, I don't think they need to be necessarily very detailed or take very long to draw. I think we just need to convey either emotion or jump point. This particular scene, which I'm gonna try to color till then, but this particular scene I just couldn't exclude because I wanted to draw something that was already familiar to myself, and I find that this intuitive writing is very similar to poetry writing, and I was writing very, very strange poems as a teenager, and I feel like we would live in the same world as Ghibli-esque sort of, as my world that I'm creating for middle grade, let's say. It would live in the similar sort of fantasy world. So one of these poems, which I'm trying to reflect on here, was written about almost like sun being born in flowers, and it sort of, at that point I know I wanted to reflect impressionism. So it was about um, lilies of the valley and their little bells, and they're sort of waking up into the morning. So it's really, I'm trying to make it sort of by dots to remind that sort of picture of light being born from the ground. In the story itself, there is a sprite. Well, I feel like I have to tell his name because I keep drawing it. A sprite named Cookie, who is apprentice of a wizard. And to tell shortly, he spills stars on the ground, and it sort of lives and shine, and that's when he meets a regular boy, Henry. That's a big meeting point for them. I might do another video for implementing Miyazaki's routine, as well as implementing, sort of creating storyboards based on few chapters. At this point, I find that drawing and not always just writing, and is kind of a new way to get to know your characters. As far as I've been drawing, and especially character designs and things like that, I did find out more about the story I want to do, or how I can actually do some of the characters. I think a lot of things might still change to benefit the story. It might still become something else, and even one drawing might completely fall apart if there's something better. It's a very chaotic way of working. I think it was quick and fair enough. It's not amazing, but I think it says something from what I wanted to be in it. The most important lesson what I learned so far trying to write something in similar style was pauses, or otherwise in drawings I can say negative space. I really struggle when I draw. I really struggle to make negative space. That's why I had to erase a little bit this time, because I already made it crowded. A lot of times I draw everything very crowded, and I think Miyazaki is all about having negative space, having a pause. He's, I think, explaining it as if having either a clap and a pause after it, or some sort of like a wave after the sound. I think what he means with, as well as in animation, you have to slow down and look around with the rest of it, what's happening. And his stories are not as much plot driven as I would say atmosphere and character driven, and it's really living in that atmosphere, almost dwelling in it, and showing everything around what is mundane and can be magical at the same time. I really struggled, same in writing and in drawing, to make these pauses, to not what we see a lot in a lot of fantasy books, or let's say even middle grade books. We see a lot of overflow with magical, overflow with characters. It's not always slowing down and seeing a certain object for enough time to make it memorable, and sometimes you just flow through a lot of pages with a lot of magical instruments. And I definitely still struggle to slow down. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of things flowing at the same time.